Good morning, good afternoon, or very good evening to all the students studying in 10th standard. Welcome in your own YouTube channel, that is my online English class. And today we are going to learn our next chapter, that is his first flight. And the chapter is, or the story is written by Liam O'Flaherty. Liam O'Flaherty was an Irish novelist or a short story writer, and in this chapter, he has very well depicted or pinned down the efforts done by a young seagull for his very first flight. This is a very inspirational chapter or an inspirational story of a young seagull that tells us that we should keep on trying and we should not give up unless we become successful. So let us start our chapter. As we just discussed that this is a story of a young seagull, and the young seagull was alone on his ledge. Ledge, that is the cliff of a mountain. He was sitting there alone because his two brothers and sister had already flown away the day before. He was with his two sisters and two brothers and one sister. They were all learning to fly, but his two brothers and sister learned to fly on the previous day, on the day before, but he was not able to fly with them because he was very much afraid to fly. He could not learn flying because he was afraid to fall down. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. त्याला थोडासा प्रयत्न करायला जमत होतं. He used to run forward to the brink of the ledge. Brink म्हणजे एकदम शेवटचं टोक. तिथपर्यंत तो जात होता. But when it used to, or when it came to flapping the wings and soaring high up in the air, he was afraid. पण ज्या वेळेला पंख पसरून हवेमध्ये उडण्याची वेळ यायची तेव्हा मात्र तो काय करायचा, घाबरायचा. And that is why he was not able to learn flying with his two brothers and sister. So let us see why the young seagull was so afraid of trying to fly. Because beneath, downwards, he could see the vast expanse of the sea, and that is why he was not able to muster up the courage to try flying. खाली त्याला प्रचंड अथांग समुद्र दिसत होता आणि त्यामुळं त्याची भीती वाटल्यामुळे तो प्रयत्न करू शकत नव्हता. Then his father and his mother had come around calling to him shrilly, upbraiding him, threatening to let him starve on his ledge unless he flew away. But for the life of him, he could not move. त्याच्या आईवडिलांना त्याची काळजी होती. His father and mother had come around calling to him shrilly. Shrilly म्हणजे कर्कशपणे. या ठिकाणी तुम्हाला सीगल दिसतोय. त्यांची ओरडण्याची जी पद्धत आहे ही वेगळी असते. कर्कश आवाजामध्ये ते ओरडतात. And they were shouting on him, shouting at him, upbraiding him, shouting at him, threatening. They also threatened him that he will not get anything to eat unless he flew or unless he fly away. जोपर्यंत तो उडणार नाही तोपर्यंत त्याला खायला सुद्धा दिलं जाणार नाही, अशा प्रकारची भीती सुद्धा त्यांनी त्याला दाखवली. म्हणजे सगळ्या प्रकारे त्यांनी त्याला समजावण्याचा प्रयत्न केला. बट फॉर द लाईफ ऑफ हिम ही कुड नॉट मूव्ह. पण त्याला आपल्या जीवाची एवढी भीती वाटत होती की तो थोडा सुद्धा तिथून हल्ला नाही. ही वॉज नॉट एबल टू make the efforts to fly. And that was 24 hours ago. And since then nobody had come near him. त्याला अनेक प्रकारे समजावून सुद्धा तो उडणं शिकत नव्हता. And that is why his father and mother became very angry and nobody came to see him. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sisters and perfecting them in the art of flight, teaching them how to skim the waves and how to dive for fish. म्हणजे आदल्या दिवशी तो दिवसभर बघत होता की त्याचे आई वडील हे त्याच्या इतर भाऊ बहिणींना शिकवत होते, उडायला शिकवत होते. And they were teaching them how to skim the waves and how to dive for fish. He had in fact seen his older brother catch his first herring and devour it standing on a rock. आणि त्याने हे पण बघितलं होतं की त्याचा दुसरा भाऊ जो होता मोठा त्याने एक हेरिंग म्हणजे एक मासा आहे तो पकडला होता. And he was devouring it standing on a rock. म्हणजे he was eating that fish standing on a rock, while his parents circled around, raising a proud cackle. His parents were praising him. They were so proud that the brother had learned to catch the fish. And all the morning, the whole family had walked about on the big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, taunting him for his cowardice. Cowardice? Cowardice म्हणजे lack of courage to face any danger or to some challenging things. The whole day everyone was taunting him. Everyone was teasing him. त्याचे भाऊ बहीण, mother, father, everyone was taunting him for his cowardice. But त्यांचा उद्देश हा त्याला दुखावण्याचा निश्चितच नव्हता. They wanted him to learn to fly, and that is why they were just taunting him, they were teasing him, they wanted him to learn to fly. So the next morning, the young seagull stepped out to the brink of the lake. The previous night he had not had any food. त्याच्या पालकांनी, त्याच्या पेरेंट्सने त्याला काही खायला दिलं नव्हतं. And the whole day everyone was taunting him, teasing him. So the next morning he was very much hungry, but he wanted to draw an attention of his parents. त्याला त्याच्या आईवडिलांचं लक्ष त्याच्याकडे खेचायचं होतं, लक्ष वेधून घ्यायचं होतं. So what did he do? He stood on the brink of the edge. But how? On only one leg. He stood on one leg and the other leg was hidden under his wings. एका पायावर उभा राहिला आणि दुसरा पाय त्याने काय केला, आपल्या पंखांखाली लपवला. He closed one eye, then the other, and pretended to be falling asleep. To pretend म्हणजे नाटक करणे. He was not sleeping, but he pretended to be falling asleep because he wanted his father and mother to come to him. But nobody took notice of him. त्याच्याकडे कोणीही लक्ष दिलं नाही. He saw his two brothers and his sister lying on the plateau, dozing with their heads sunk into their necks. त्याचे भाऊ आणि बहीण काय करत होते त्या ठिकाणी, त्या प्लॅटूवरती. प्लॅटू म्हणजे फ्लॅट लँड, पठारासारखा जो भाग असतो त्याला प्लॅटू असं आपण म्हणतो. त्या ठिकाणी त्याचे भाऊ आणि बहीण काय करत होते, डुलक्या मारत होते. अँड their heads were sunk into their necks. His father was preening the feathers on his white back. Only his mother was looking at him. त्याची आई फक्त काय करत होती, त्याच्याकडे बघत होती. त्याचं सगळं छोटंसं नाटक जे चाललं होतं ते सगळं त्याची आई पाहत होती. She was standing on a little high hump on the plateau, her white breast thrust forward. Now and again she tore at a piece of fish that lay at her feet and then scraped each side of her beak on the rock. एका उंच ओट्यावरती, ओट्यासारख्या भागावरती त्याची आई त्या ठिकाणी उभी होती. अँड शी वॉज टोरिंग ॲट अ पीस ऑफ फिश. तिने एक मासा पकडून आणला होता आणि त्याचे तुकडे करून ती खात होती. अँड देन आफ्टर हॅव्हिंग इट शी वॉज स्क्रॅपिंग इच ऑफ हर बीक ऑन द रॉक. तिची चोच स्वच्छ किंवा शार्प ती करत होती. म्हणजे ती फिश खात होती आणि हा तिच्याकडे बघत होता. त्याला ते दिसत होतं की त्याची आई काय करत आहे, फिश खात आहे आणि हा मात्र रात्रीपासून खूप उपाशी होता. The young seagull saw his mother having fish and the sight of the food maddened him. रात्रीपासून त्याने काही खाल्लेलं नव्हतं आणि ते बघून तो वेड्यासारखा झाला. म्हणजे प्रचंड भूक त्याला लागली. How he loved to tear food that way, scraping his beak now and again to wet it. Ga ga ga, he cried, begging her to bring him some food. आणि तो ओरडायला लागला आणि त्याच्या आईला खुणवायला लागला, सांगायला लागला की मला सुद्धा काय कर, तू थोडंसं खायला दे. Gaw caw aw, she screamed back derisively. But he kept calling plaintively. And after a minute or so, he uttered a joyful scream. His mother had picked up a piece of the fish and was flying across to him with it. So, her mother, she was not going to give him the food. So, she screamed back derisively. Derisively means in a manner showing someone is stupid. एखाद्याला वेड्यात काढण्यासारखं ज्या वेळेला आपण करतो, that is called as derisively. So, she was not able to, or she was not willing to give him food, but he kept calling plaintively. Plaintively means expressing sorrow. म्हणजे त्याला प्रचंड भूक लागलेली होती, त्याच्यामुळे तो त्या पद्धतीनं एकदम दुःखाने तिला मागत होता. And after a minute or so, he uttered a joyful scream. He was very happy because his mother had picked up a piece of the fish and was flying across to him with it. He saw that his mother is coming towards him with that a piece of fish, and he was very much happy. But then what happened? She did not come towards him. Though she started flying with the fish, she did not come towards or near to him. He leaned out eagerly, tapping the rock with his feet, trying to get nearer to her as she flew across. But when she was just opposite to him, she halted, her wings motionless, the piece of fish in her beak almost within reach of his beak. But she did not give that piece of fish to him. तिने तो त्याला दिला नाही. अगदी त्याच्या जवळ होता, मात्र तिने तो त्याला दिला नाही. Then what happened? He was so hungry. He waited a moment in surprise, wondering why she did not come nearer, and then, maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. सुरुवातीला त्याला वाटलं की आई असं का करतेय, मला का देत नाहीये. But afterwards he maddened as he got maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. आता मला देत नाहीये म्हटल्यावर काय केलं त्याने, त्या फिश कडे त्याने झेप घेतली. With a loud scream he fell forward, outwards and downwards into space. Then a monstrous terror seized him and his heart stood still. त्याने म्हणजे त्याला काही न कळता काय केलं त्याने, आकाशात झेप घेतली त्या मास्याकडे. And then he realized, oh my God, I have flown away. मी काय झालेलो आहे, उडालेलो आहे. And then a monstrous terror seized him. Monstrous terror म्हणजे भयंकर त्याला शॉक बसला किंवा त्याला आश्चर्य वाटलं असेल किंवा त्याला धक्का बसला असेल की अरे आपण आता उंच आहोत, वर आहोत, हवेमध्ये तरंगत आहोत. अँड हिज हार्ट स्टूड स्टिल. आणि मग त्याचं हृदय काय झालं, अचानक थांबलं. ही बिकेम व्हेरी फ्रायटन्ड. ही कुड हिअर नथिंग, but it only lasted a minute. त्याला हे थोड्या वेळाकरता वाटलं. The next moment he felt his wings spread outwards. The wind rushed against his breast feathers, then under his stomach and against his wings. He could feel the tips of his wing cutting through the air. आणि त्याला त्या ठिकाणी नंतर आपण उडत आहोत, व्यवस्थित उडत आहोत. And he could feel the tips of his wings cutting through the air. He was not falling headlong now. आणि तो काय करत नव्हता, पुन्हा पडणार नव्हता. He was soaring gradually downwards and outwards. He was no longer afraid. He just felt a bit dizzy. आणि एकदा उडायला लागल्यानंतर त्याला अजिबात भीती वाटली नाही. बट फक्त त्याला थोडीशी त्याचं डोकं आपण म्हणूया जड पडलं किंवा त्याला थोडंसं चक्कर आल्यासारखं झालं. ही जस्ट हॅड अन अनकम्फर्टेबल फिलिंग ऑफ स्पिनिंग अराउंड अँड लुझिंग हिज बॅलन्स. दॅट्स इट. अदरवाइज he did not feel any other fears. And when he was able to fly, the whole family, his parents, his brother, sister, were so happy. They were very happy to see him flying. He saw his two brothers and his sister flying around him, curveting and banking and soaring and diving. His brothers and sister, they were so happy. They were curveting, they were leaping like a horse, and they were banking, that is flying with one wing higher than the other. घोड्यासारखे उड्या मारत होते because they were very happy. They were dancing in air. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly and commended himself to dive and soar and curve, shrieking shrilly. प्रचंड त्याला आनंद झाला होता, मोठ्याने तो ओरडत होता. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing straight out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea beneath him with little ridges moving over it, and he turned his beak sideways and cawed amusedly. त्याला अतिशय आनंद झाला होता. तर तो समुद्रावरती काय करत होता, उडत होता. He could see the little ridges moving over it. Ridge means a chain of hills. छोट्या छोट्या बेटांच्या माळा त्याला त्या ठिकाणी दिसत होत्या. And he turned his beak sideways and cawed amusedly. Amusedly means pleasurably, with lot of pleasure. He was so happy. His parents and his brothers and sister had landed on this green flooring ahead of him, and they were beckoning to him, calling shrilly. They were all very happy. The whole family became very happy. They were flying with him, and they then took a rest on the green flooring ahead of him, and they were beckoning to him. Beckoning means they were calling him shrilly. They were giving him a signal to move near or to follow them. And they were also calling him shrilly in a loud voice, in a loud noise, because they were very much happy. He dropped his legs to stand on the green sea. Then he tried to stand on the green sea. His legs sank into it. He screamed with fright and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings. त्याला थोड्या वेळाकरता खूप भीती वाटली, and then he again tried to took the flight with his flapping wings, but he was tired and weak with hunger, and he could not rise, exhausted by the strange exercise. मात्र पहिल्यांदाच तो हे सगळं करत होता, किंवा उडण्यासाठी काय एनर्जी लागते हे त्याला आता कळत होतं. He was exhausted. Exhausted means wear out. He had no energy. He had no more energy to fly. But he was tired and weak with hunger and could not rise. Exhausted by the strange exercise, his feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it, and he sank no farther. म्हणजे त्याचे पहिल्यांदा पाय पाण्यात बुडाले, मग त्याचं पोट पाण्यात बुडालं, बट ही डिड नॉट सिंक फर्दर. पण त्याचा तो बुडाला नाही, कारण की तो त्या पाण्यावरती तरंगायला लागला. ही वॉज फ्लोटिंग ऑन इट, अँड अराउंड हिम हु वर देअर the whole family. His whole family was screaming, praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish. सगळी family या चित्रामध्ये जे दिसते, his father, his mother, his brother, sister, they were all around him, and they were so happy. They were screaming, they were praising him. सगळे त्याचं कौतुक करत होते, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish. आदल्या रात्री त्याच्या आई वडिलांनी त्याला उपाशी ठेवलं होतं, पण ते त्याच्या चांगल्या करता होतं, त्याच्या भल्या करता होतं, बिकॉज ही वॉज नॉट मेकिंग एफर्ट्स टू फ्लाय. तो उडण्याचा प्रयत्नच करत नव्हता, म्हणून त्याला उपाशी ठेवलं होतं. बट नाव ॲज ही हॅड मेड हिज फर्स्ट फ्लाईट, दे वर ऑल ऑफरिंग हिम स्क्रॅप्स ऑफ डॉगफिश. सगळेजण त्याला माशांचे तुकडे देत होते. दे वर ऑफरिंग हिम, दे वर फीडिंग हिम, दे वर ऑल व्हेरी हॅपी. बिकॉज व्हॉट? बिकॉज ही हॅड मेड हिज फर्स्ट फ्लाईट. कारण की त्याने पहिल्यांदा उडण्याचा प्रयत्न केला होता, आणि तो उडला होता. त्याने सक्सेसफुली त्याचं जे काही उड्डाण होतं ते कंप्लीट केलं होतं. सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट दिस motivational, inspirational story written by Liam O. Flaherty. And students, we also should do like the young seagull. We should not give up. We should always try and try unless we become successful. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, kindly subscribe this channel, and see you in our next video. Thank you so much for watching.